All right, guys. Today we are going to be talking about converting measurements. And this is something you see in your everyday life. You see pounds, ounces, inches, centimeters, cups, quarts. Converting measurements is something you will see everywhere. But what's great to know is that the math behind converting measurements is solving a proportion. They are equivalent fractions, they are equivalent ratios. So the way we are going to solve our converting measurements is to use a proportion. So again, our steps remain the same. We're going to set it up, we're going to cross multiply, and then we're going to divide. So let's look at our problem. A child weighs 83 pounds. What is the child's weight in ounces? Now, I know when we first learned proportions, we had percent over 100. Well, we don't have our percents anymore, but what we do have is our given conversion factor. That is what replaced our percent over 100. You will always have your conversion factor. That will never change. So what we do know is that I have 16 ounces over 1 pound. Notice how I'm writing my units because units are super, super important. We don't want to mix up 16 pounds as 1 ounce because that does not mean the same thing. So now I want to set up the other side. Well, if I go to my problem, it says the child weighs 83 pounds and I'm looking for the weight in ounces. So that means 83 pounds has to line up with the pounds. And that means if I'm looking for the weight in ounces, this is my unknown because I'm looking for ounces. So we've set up our proportion for converting our units of measurement. Now we're going to cross multiply. And guess what? It does not change. We still cross multiply on the diagonal. So we're going to create our butterfly wings. Now, what's good about this is that once you set it up, those units can kind of fade away because we've set it up correctly. So once you set it up correctly with your units, we can kind of draw away from using them when we do the math. So I'm going to multiply 16 times 83, and that is equal to 1 times the unknown. So of course, I'm going to use my resources, which is my calculator, and I'm going to quickly do 16 times 83 because in the real world, you will have access to your calculator. So I have 16 times 83. That gives me 1,328, which is equal to 1 times my unknown. So we've cross multiplied. Well, what's our last step? And we want to remember it has not changed. We are going to divide. And what we divide by or the reasoning behind our division does not change. I want to get rid of what's next to my unknown. Well, what is next to my unknown? A 1. And it's connected by multiplication. So what am I going to do to get rid of it? I'm going to divide. And what number am I going to divide by? 1. That cancels out. I'm left with my question mark. And I'm going to divide by 1 on both sides. Well, we know that 1,328 divided by 1 is the number it started with. So that means, and just to double check to prove it to you, I'm going to divide by 1. I got the same thing. So that means my question mark equals 1,328. That means 83 pounds is 1,328 ounces. And I'm going to put it back in the context of my problem. 83 pounds is 1,328 ounces. That means the child weighs 1,328 ounces.